Hello folks, I just wanted to make a short-ish video aimed at game developers and indie game publishers regarding approaching YouTubers who you want to show off or talk about your game. Now, keep in mind, I'm a pretty small channel and I can only really speak for myself here, but I do talk with other video game YouTubers. So I wanted to give a little bit of feedback because I've seen some common things that a few of us will complain or joke about when we're asked by indie devs to cover their games. So I wanted to cover those and maybe make it a little bit easier for you guys to get in contact with us and have us show off your games. The first thing I want to mention is please do not pretend that you have watched our content when you haven't. If you've watched some of our videos in preparation to email us, or if you actually are a fan of our channel, then, great, that's cool. You can mention in the email. But a lot of times, again, talking with other video game YouTubers, we've seen this where someone will say, "Oh, I love your content, I love your videos," and then say something that directly contradicts what we even have on our channel. So please don't do that. Please don't lie about it. We'll know you're lying. Just be honest and upfront. The second point is be short and to the point, or at the very least, have a too long didn't read section with any information such as if you have keys, or if you want to enter the key, or embargo stuff. Basically the things that we need to know at a glance. Again, I have a small YouTube channel. I still get multiple emails every single day from indie developers saying, "Hey, can you check out my game?" I can't even imagine the kind of traffic that people like Northern Lion and Total Biscuit and Rockley Smiles, I'm sure they get dozens of emails every single day. And we don't have time to read a giant press statement. Include that in the email, but please also have, again, a too long didn't read that says, "Hey, we've got review codes if you want. This is an RTS game, blah, blah, blah." Just some very short and sweet things that we can glance over very quickly. Number 3, don't beat around the bush or be shy about mentioning your Kickstarter or Greenlight to us. Multiple times I'll get an email and somebody says, "Hey, would you please show off our game? And oh, by the way, I hate to mention it, but we have a Kickstarter," or "I'm trying to get my game voted on Greenlight." Look, we understand that part of the reason you're trying to get a hold of us is to get your game to be more popular, whether, you're trying to raise funds on Kickstarter or get upvotes on Greenlight, whatever it is. We understand that. So just tell us up front, "Hey, I've got this game. I got the demo. It's on Kickstarter. I'm trying to raise awareness of the game." Just tell us. Be upfront. We're not going to be like, "Oh, well, I was going to cover the game until you mentioned you were trying to raise money on a Kickstarter." That's fine. Just mention it to us up front. The fourth thing I would mention is have at least one link to a gameplay video about your game. It can be something short, but something we can look at and see if it's something that we want to cover. For example, if somebody has a game of a genre that I'm not good at or that I'm not really into, such as a sports game or like a flight sim or something like that, I want to see that ahead of time, because if it's something like that that I don't really want to cover, or that a genre I'm not into, I'm probably not going to cover it. And you don't probably want me to cover it, because depending on the genre you're in and what type of game you're making, you might not want somebody who's into that, who doesn't like that type of game, covering your game, because I'm not going to give a good review or a good preview of a game of a genre I don't enjoy or that I'm not particularly good at. So some kind of gameplay video linked in the email would also be great. Number 5, please keep in mind that many of us do not cover mobile games at all, or have very minimal experience covering or even playing mobile games. Please know that before you send us an email asking us to play a mobile game. And just to be safe, because many of us don't cover mobile games, I would very strongly suggest that either in the email or on a web page that you can link to, give step-by-step directions on how to install an emulator and how to install your game and to play that game on that emulator. I've got one specific example of a company that was doing an Android game and wrote me about it, and I said, "Well, I don't do that." And they said, "Oh, you can get an emulator." And they gave me some very rough instructions on how to get it going. And I got it halfway going, but I couldn't figure out how to install the game. Long story short, I got fed up with trying to get it to work. I'd already spent over an hour and a half just trying to get the game to run on my machine. And finally I said, just forget it. I've got other things to do. So if you're doing a mobile game, either make sure the person you're sending the email to does mobile games, or have a page somewhere that gives specific instructions on how to get the emulator running and get the game running in the emulator. Number 6 is just kind of one of my personal things. Please make screenshots, and in particular, a blank logo image available on your press kit or as some kind of attachment or whatever. Because how I make title cards for my videos, I always use the logo that the actual game creators have created. I want to keep their branding together, if you will. And I know other Let's Players do the same thing. And sometimes finding a clean logo for a game, in other words, without other things tied to it, can be difficult. And I am terrible at Photoshop. So I'm not very good at getting the logo cut out of another image and then putting it into mine. So if you can make a blank logo available as well as screenshots, that would be very much appreciated. The last specific point I wanted to talk about was emailing us to recover a game we've already covered. This happens, I've seen multiple times, where a game is in alpha or beta and a new, like it goes from alpha to beta, or it goes from beta to release, or it's version 2.0 has been released, and we'll get another email that says, hey, you covered this 3 months ago and you seem to like it. Can you please cover this game again? Please understand that a lot of us, again, have limited time. And again, even a small channel like myself, I get a lot of requests for games. And for fairness reasons, I want to cover as many games as possible because I want to show my audience a wide array of games. So the premise of, or the idea of going back to a game I've already showed, the same people are probably not going to suddenly be interested who were not interested before. Does that make sense? It's just a genre they don't like, or the game itself wasn't interesting to them. So with very limited time, it's rare that I will ever go back to a game that I've already covered, unless it's been a really long time, or unless the changes that have been made are very, very big since the last time I've talked about it. For example, I covered Prison Architect probably like a year and a half ago, and there's been a lot of updates since then, so I would have no problem going back and covering it again. But keep in mind, speaking for myself and my channel, I've got very limited time to record both my Let's Tries, which is my indie game series, versus the other content I want to make, versus, other time commitment type things that I have. So don't be offended if we either don't respond or just don't cover a game a second time that we've already covered. Please understand that for a lot of us, it just becomes a case of, I don't want to get in the habit of making a second video for a game I've already covered, and we just might not have time to go over a game that our viewers have already seen. Speaking for myself, I can say that my goal with my first impression videos called Let's Tries is to show gamers these games that they would enjoy that they might not have heard about any other way. Show off these games which don't have large marketing budgets or don't have other huge perks like big name game developer or any kind of other widespread social media presence or anything like that. I want to show people games that they will enjoy. I want to help these indie developers get the game that they work so very hard on out there. I want to do my very small part in tying these two together. And I know there are a lot of other YouTubers out there who want the same thing. Hopefully you'll find the information in this video useful and you'll contact your friendly local YouTuber today and let them know about your game. Thank you for watching, and I hope to show off your game soon.